So in the lead up to Destined Rivals, we have one other card that got released that we're going to be able to play with a little bit early, and that's Steven's Metagross EX, which is a pretty interesting card, and a card that I talked a lot of crap on, to be honest. I did not think it was going to be very good, but the more that I play with it, it's actually not all that bad. It does have the X-Boot attack, or ability rather, where once during your turn you can search your deck for a basic Psychic energy card, a metal energy card, or one of each, and attach them to one of your psychic and metal Pokemon in any way you like. This is really good because it allows you to do a couple different things that are pretty valuable. And one of those things is not only power up itself and be a pretty decent attacker because of how bulky it is, but also it allows you to power up your Lillie's Clefable to take knockouts pretty easily. If they have a wide bench, or to knock out things like Dracopult pretty easily. But it also allows you to power up Mew EX and actually use the Genome hacking attack. So not only is it a free retreater, but it also gets a very wide variety of moves that it's able to do, and even comboing it with Dracopult, where you're able to have your Clefairy on the bench, have Mew, make it pretty bulky. It can be pretty annoying for your opponent to deal with. For other threats, though, you get to just use the Steven's Metagross itself, and you're able to do a bunch of different things, because you have the 200 damage from the just base attack, which isn't all that great. So what I'll be doing is using a Black Belt training when I need to. But one of the main things that you are able to do is actually utilize Munkidori and just be super tanky and very, very annoying. What we're going to be doing is playing a copy of Steven's Carbink. Once we have that down, as long as this Pokemon is on your bench, all your Steven's Pokemon take 30 less damage. So we get effectively 370 HP. And then when we have the Stadium in play, the Granite Cave, we get an additional 30 less damage that we take. So then we're pretty much at 400 HP. So with the healing of the Munkidori, which can be upwards to 60 if we have both on board, we're very, very strong. And then also we can even pick it up with a Professor Turo's and reset it. So it's really not that big of a deal. One of the other cards that we get to play with that's new is the Energy Recycler. So even if we Turo's our Metagross and all our energies go to the discard pile, it doesn't matter. We just throw them back in the deck and reset them that way. So it works out pretty well. As for a draw engine for this deck, we're running the Fezandipiti EX as a backup. You do get your restart with the Mew as well, so this card is multifaceted in this deck. And we are also playing a copy, or a 2-2 line rather, of Revavroom. Since if we're playing a bunch of energy anyway, and we have multiple ways to get them back into the deck. So if we need to, discard an energy to draw some cards, that's totally fine. We can also power it up if we have to with with our Metagross and start attacking to get past like a Mimikyu or something like that. If we don't have access to our Mew for whatever reasons. But yeah, we also play a copy of Cleffa. This is just a good card. Helps us get into our pieces. I don't really find the Beldum really matters as much. I just want to be getting my pieces. And then as our main acceleration, we're going to be playing the Precious Trolley to get our bench all set up, and then copies of Evolution. So the main goal is that we go second, we play our Arven, we get our pieces off, get set up, get ourselves, a Revavroom into a Metang as early as possible, drop our Metagross on the next turn, and kind of pop off from there. But yeah, that's going to be the deck, guys, so be sure to let me know what you think of the list, and let me know any changes that you'd make to it. I wish there was cooler stuff that we could use, like we have the Steven's coin, but for the card sleeve and box, I really couldn't think of anything that went, decent with this, so just generic steel, whatever. But yeah, we'll get into the games in a second. I just want to give a special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for the additional level of support. It really does go a long way. It means a lot, so thank you so much for that. For everybody else, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also make sure that you ring the bell for notifications, because I was looking over my analytics, and a ton of people are subscribed, but a lot of people don't have notifications on. So I've been getting messages recently about people missing some of my recent uploads and stuff like that. So if you want to make sure you're seeing all the uploads and stuff like that, just make sure you hit the bell and all that other YouTube stuff, yada, yada, yada. I will see you guys all in game one in a second. Peace. All right, we're into game number one, and our opponent won the coin flip. They're going to have us go first. which is kind of bad and good. I mean, this hand sucks, but at the same time, it's like not that bad. Oh, we're up against Dragapult. It's not a terrible matchup for us. We have a lot of outs. Not only do we have a lot of outs, but like things aren't even that bad. We can. All right, I'm gonna attach the energy here and pass. And the main reason for that is that if I can go Pokégear on the next turn and hit an Arven, I can go Arven for Rare Candy. And then go Ultra Ball, make myself the Metagross, and just kind of go from there. Like, that would be pretty big. Okay. Iono comes in, that's okay, that's okay. Alright, I get Rare Candy Metagross along with a Buddy Poffin right away into another Iono play. That's so huge. No, I'm gonna get Badooed. That's less huge. That's so annoying. Okay. The problem is I can't Arven here because Arven doesn't get me anything other than like TM Evo, but that doesn't get me anywhere either. So I just have to drop the Iono, unfortunately. This gets me a little closer. I'm gonna go Metal Slash here. It doesn't KO it, but it does put it lower, so that way I can just move damage to it with Munkidori later. If they make Dragapult, then, you know, I lose. That just is what it is. That makes me a little bit more confident. If I can top deck Metagross, then that'll make me feel good again. Top decking it in Iono into Metagross would feel okay. What else could I use? Top decking into Revavroom would also be okay. Like, wouldn't be that upset about that. Because on this turn, I have to get something going for me. Because otherwise I'm going to get way too behind. There's a Brock Scouting, which I assume is going to be for the Pult. Unless they want to set up Duskulls, but I don't think they're running those. Yeah, they're not. Alright, so let's see. What's in their hand? They have Munkidori, Fezandipiti, Buddy Poffin. So, no room for the Munkidori to even come down. That's interesting. We get Cleffa. I'm gonna go Arven here. Get myself the TM Evo. And I guess a trolley for later. I can't use TM Evo on this upcoming turn. So I'm gonna just attach this and I'm gonna pass for now. I want to go Evo, but I can't because of the defect to Metal Slash. I can't go TM Evo. I want to attach the Metal Energy to the Clefairy, but I can't because if I am able to get TM Evo off on the next turn, then I'm gonna need the energy for the Revavroom. So I need to hope I draw into one other energy, I guess. I have to not get attacked by Dracobolt on this upcoming turn. That's like really what this is going to turn into. Right now I'm getting crippled by Badoo. But, I mean, that's just going to happen. There's outcomes where we end up okay, though. But we need to start getting... like, back into the game. Ultra Ball, again, not super ideal. We're gonna go Evo. Because I can't afford... to knock this out and give them the Fezandipiti. Because, like, eventually... they're gonna get into Dracobolt, unfortunately. There's, like, nothing I can really do about it. I just have to hope it's not this turn. And then we either need to hope for an Iono top deck, or we need to hope for a second energy, like a Psychic Energy top deck. That would be okay too, because we could put that on Clefairy. There's a Luminous... Okay. We get a turn, and the more that we get, the better. The fact that they either haven't found... Okay. I'm not happy about that, but I'm also not that upset because it at least gets something out of our hand so we can draw a little bit deeper. That's super big. So we get to attach. I'm going to go boot here. Make Clefairy. Knock out this Badoo so I can stop getting item locked every turn. And there's a Dark Energy, which will allow me to go Precious Trolley into my Munkidori. And the, yeah, I need the Munkidori, and I need the, what is that thing called? The little rock thing. I forget what it's called. The thing of rocks, the little gem thing. I don't remember what it's called. So that way I'll be taking 30 less, so they'll only be doing 270 between turns, which means Metagross will be able to live. Like, if they just retreat, like, they don't go Itchy Pollen on this turn, they just retreat, go into Dracobolt, attack into us, that'll be fine. But we'll see what they choose to do. There's the Halucha, so they can knock out the Beldum on the bench. If they do that, though, I'm not even that upset about that. Yeah, like, I'm not even... Okay, that sucks. Because they're going to take 3 prize cards here, and that's definitely annoying. Though, that will let us use our own counter catcher. So we can counter catcher up their Fez, especially if we can top deck into an Iono or something. And that won't be that bad. Definitely sucks to lose our Cleffa like that, though, to the counter catcher. Because they take 3 prizes here, so we're going to be definitely on a back foot. But we can tie the prize cards up. We just would really love... Yeah, that's not exactly what we wanted to see. Though it's actually not that bad. It's not that bad. So what we're going to do, we're going to burn this. We're going to go Trolley. Grab ourselves these. Carbink is the name. The question is, do I want Fezandipiti? I think the answer is no, actually. I think I grab myself another Beldum here so I can make a second Metagross. Then what I can do is I'm going to go Dark Energy down. Move the 10 damage onto their Fez. Counter catch. Then go Arven for Earthen Vessel. Go Earthen Vessel. Grab myself a Dark and a Metal Energy. Where I can go Revavroom. Get rid of the Metal Energy, so that way I have the Dark for next turn. And now I have Metang as well. And then what I can do, so I'll go Super Rod, put that back, put that in that. That way, and I have Ultra Ball, so if they take a knockout later on, and I even have the Iono. Okay, perfect. I have the Mew as well. So I'm back to being in a good position. They're gonna need a boss. They can't take 2 prizes, let alone 3 on this upcoming turn. We have the capacity to heal for 60, and we're taking 30 less. I think their play that they're aiming for right now, potentially, is that they want us to knock out the Beldum. That'll enable a counter catcher. But I don't know what that does for them. Like, we just get item locked for a turn. I don't think it does too much. Okay, in comes boss's orders. One of the nice things right now is that with Metagross's ability, we'll actually be able to move the energy to the Revavroom and retreat it. Unless they choose to attack here and knock it out. But honestly, again, that's not that big a deal. So in comes the Phantom Dive. This actually enables... our counter catcher's already in play. We can knock out the Beldum here. Alright, so first things first, we're going to play this down. I think what the actual play here is that we evolve this. We go Ultra Ball. Grab ourselves our Clefairy EX. Place this down. I want to go X-Boot and see if this play is going to work. Yep. So now what we can do, place these down, go Dark Energy. We'll Iono just in case anything goes wrong here. We want to be able to put them to 2 cards and, you know, keep ourselves in a good spot. But we'll go Brain, move the 20 damage off the Carbink onto this Beldum in the back. We'll move another 10 damage off our Metagross onto the Beldum. Perfect. And then what we would have done is we would retreat out the retreat out the Metagross, bring in the Clefairy, and then attacked into the Dracopult, hitting it for weakness, which I believe should KO it, because it's a full bench -1, which should have been enough damage, you know, accounting for weakness and stuff like that. But yeah, that's going to be game number 1. Very long game, but definitely a fun one, kind of back and forth. Once we're set up, our Dracopult matchup is really good, but that's just because of like how much damage we're able to do, and also losing the Clefairy early was a little bit annoying, but that's also why you run the Super Rod in combination to the Energy Recycler, so that way we could put the Clefairy back, since it's something that we can just power up pretty much whenever we want, which again helps our Dracopult matchup pretty decently. But yeah, that's going to be game 1. We'll jump into game number 2 in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 2, and our opponent's going to be going first. We'll see what we get. We obviously would prefer to be going second, but it's okay. We open Munkidori. We see Maractus and Dreepy. Interesting. Or actually, sorry, I got the turn order wrong. Our opponent's going first. We're going second. That's actually very good for us. That's what we were hoping for. I don't know why I read that in the opposite way. We do have the Pokégear. We do have the Evolution as well as a TM. As well as an Energy, which is really nice, especially too if we can go, like if we get an Arven off this Pokégear here, or like if we top deck it, that would be great. Let's hope that we get it off the Pokégear here. We do, that's super huge. So we'll go Arven here, grab ourselves Trolley, and we'll grab ourselves the rescue board so that way we can retreat this out later. We'll go ahead and drop the Precious, grab this for now. Let's see, we only have one Metang. Yeah, we'll go double Beldum for right now. Alright, cool. We'll place this down. Go Dark Energy. Go Evolution. Make this and that. So now we have Revavroom. We have our Metang. We can always find ourselves Clefable later and get that powered up, so I'm less worried about that. We can drop the rescue board down onto the Munkidori, and if we top deck an Energy on the upcoming turn, I am fine going Revavroom. Like, I'll go Ultra Ball, get rid of the Ultra Ball and other Magnezone potentially. The Iono's slightly annoying because we lose out on double Magnezone, but we can find a new one. There we go, we get the Ultra Ball anyway. We also get the Earthen Vessel, which is pretty good for us. The only thing that sucks is that we do lose out on the rescue board, which means we'll have to lose out on the Munkidori in order to retreat unless we top deck into Arven again. If we top deck into Arven, then, you know, can't complain there. That's pretty cool. Recon Directive. We could simply just drop the Iono, but I think I'm fine going Ultra Ball, getting rid of Iono, and probably the catcher, and going about it that way. I think we'll be fine. Because we can always rare candy to this. Let's see. Get a metal energy. That's nice because it gives us a target for Revavroom. So we'll get rid of this and this for now. Use that to grab ourselves the Metagross. We'll evolve. That also shuffles our deck. So then we'll go... Let's go X-Boot for 1 and 1. Power up our Metagross, that'll help thin our deck a little bit. We'll get rid of 1 Iono. Grab ourselves a Dark and another Metal. We can go ahead and Rumbling. Get rid of the Metal, draw ourselves 3, see what we're able to find. We are able to find not only the Cave, but also the Arven. That's pretty big because it allows us to find this. And it also gets us our rare candy as well, which means we could potentially find our other Metagross and make that. And if we're able to do that, that'll be really, really big. So we'll go rare candy. We'll attach the rescue board. Retreat that out. Bring in our Metagross. We can slap down the Dark Energy. Throw the Cave down. And go Metal Stomp. Knocking out the Maractus. We will take the 60, but I'm not that worried about that, to be honest. We also get the Mew. That's pretty nice. Because on the next turn, we'll be able to attach, unless they go like Counter Catcher and knock something out, we'll be able to go double Munkidori onto the Metagross, where right now we're reducing 60 damage. We'll be able to heal the equivalence of 60 on the upcoming turn. Let's see, it'll be 120, we'll go to 180. We can survive a whole other 2 attacks, essentially, with the healing between the Munkidoris, especially if we can set up a second Metagross. Then just look for a Professor Tauros to pick it up. Because it's going to be the Dracopult attack with the Phantom Dive. Okay, they do get the Artisan, which means we're only taking... we're only reducing by 30, so it's going to be 270. Which isn't that bad. Even 170 is not that bad, because 170 plus the 60, so we'll go to, what, 230? Yeah, I think we still live after the double Munkidori play. And then we can just drop Iono after, see what else we can get. In comes Arven. I'm not really sure. I guess we'll move the damage onto the Dracloak. The unfair stamp doesn't really bother me that much. Buddy Poffin comes out. The Defiance Band is minorly annoying, because it will offset the Carbink, so it means we'll be taking 200, which means we won't be able to live another attack. At least not directly, so getting a new Metagross here is going to be really important. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, we'll see. Before we start moving damage around and all that kind of stuff, we'll... Okay, they go Counter Catcher. For the Carbink. Meaning we will be able to survive 2 attacks now. I don't know if that was the right play to make, if I'm honest. feel like they were better off getting rid of one of the Munkidoris, especially the one with the energy and the rescue board on it. Or potentially the Revavroom. Either one of those would have been a better call, because the 30 damage reduction is like not that big of a deal. But after unfair stamping me, like knocking out the Revavroom there would matter, because they don't know what I have left. Yeah, I don't think that was the call. Or even like the Munkidori, like to stop the, you know, incoming healing. I feel like would matter more. So we'll go Revavroom here. We do get ourselves a boss's orders, which is okay, but not great. I can go energy recycler here. Put the 3 back, but I'm not really as worried about that. I think I drop Iono here. Because I really want the rare candy for that, but it's just not working out. And I can't kind of sit around hoping for it. I do get Nest Ball, which can get me Fezandipiti, which is not terrible. It's prized. I can get myself Clefairy, though, have a backup attacker. And I do think that's reasonable. So we'll go Brain here. Move 30 damage to this. Where they're a little weaker. We'll go X-Boot. Use our energy to power up the Clefairy. And we'll hold on to the energy in hand so that way we can go Revavroom on the next turn. I don't have to worry about Counter Catcher because we're equal in prizes. They're going to need a boss's orders. If they knock out my Clefairy, that definitely is annoying, but it'll put them down to 3. We'll be able to go Ultra Ball for something else. Hopefully, again, we can get into our other rare candy. And I mean, if we're able to bump the stadium as well and get ourselves the cave, that'll also be good. Ideally, we get into another dark energy as well. Because then we could take 3 prize cards in the turn, go down to 2 prizes remaining, live the incoming Blood Moon attack, and get the knockout back on that. Is what would be possible here, if we can get another dark energy. Because we're about to take 200, we'll go to 290. No, we have to make a priority on making... I think we make a priority on getting the dark energy, I guess. So then we can move the damage to this, put it at 200. There's the boss's orders. Okay, honestly, that's still fine. It's annoying, but it's fine. Because it means we'll get the 3 prizes, and then our Metagross will be healthy enough that we can play around the Ursaluna. And we'll be able to Iono them on the upcoming turn unless we get... unless we top deck like Arven or Rare Candy or something. So there is a way out. It definitely just sucks that they drew the boss. It's like minorly annoying. Alright, they prepped it that way. This will get double KO'd. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna go... Energy Recycler. Put those back. Rumbling Engine. Didn't find exactly what I'm looking for, but I did find these. I'm gonna go Ultra Ball. Get rid of these. I can afford to put the Clefairy down. I really just need a Dark Energy at this point. I can go X-Boot. That way the Clefairy is repowered. And I'm going to drop the Iono because I just either need a Dark Energy or I need to be able to make a new Metagross. Alright, that's close enough. So, first things first. We'll go and heal. Yeah, we just put the damage on this. And then we remove the 10 here. We can go Metal Stomp. That way, even if so we'll take the 2 prizes. The Ursaluna is not in range to KO me. It'll need 2 energy on it. Even if they go Crispin. If they make Crispin, they attack into us, we'll be fine. We needed to make sure that Dracopult wasn't going to be a problem on spread damage. Because it doesn't KO us here. We like just barely live, and if we have to, we can retreat, go Clefairy. And they have to evolve both. Because we have 3 prize cards available, like to take. There's the energy onto that. Defiance Band won't matter. I highly doubt that they play a, I highly doubt that they play, like, Black Belts or something. So they'd have to have boss's orders to boss up the Clefairy again. Knock that out, they'll go down to 1 prize. And then they would need another boss on top of that. Potentially. Yeah, for where they're at, they would need that. Ultra Ball. Get a Brox and a Genesect. Not being able to get the second Metagross up this game has been a little annoying. Ooh. Okay, that matters. Because they're going to be able to put the damage onto the Beldum. Take a prize card there. But that only gets them 1, they'll go to 2. Okay, we get Boss Rare Candy. So if we top deck into Metagross, that's fantastic. But it's not going to matter because our Beldum's about to be knocked out anyway. Yeah, we win regardless unless they can evolve this. Because we just retreat the Metagross out, go into Clefairy. Yeah, alright, it's over. They had to find the other Dracopult EX. And they were not able to do so. So, there we go. Our Metagross, being the tank that it is, lives again. We'll go ahead and start moving the damage off. And KO that. Alright, there we go. Take a prize. There's our Black Belt. You can go ahead and retreat this. 280. And yeah, we'd be able to play 1 more Pokemon onto our bench and take the knockout. So that's going to be it. Our Dracopult matchup is actually very good. But that's mostly just because you get like double Munkidori and you're just super bulky. and being able to like power up Clefairy is really good. But yeah, that's going to be the game. Hope you guys all enjoyed. We'll get into the breakdown in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. When looking at our rating for Metagross EX, the first thing I want to say is this deck is shockingly more fun than I thought it was going to be. I was definitely a hater on Metagross when I first read the card, and I didn't really think it was going to be that great. In my breakdown of the decks when I was discussing them earlier, I kind of talked about how the Stevens deck was bad and not worth looking into. But the more that I play with Metagross, the more I actually like it a lot, and was more fun than the Grimmsnarl deck, which I thought was going to be the deck I preferred out of the two. But going into that, just want to give it a 5 out of 5 for fun. I've been really liking the deck, and yeah, that's just kind of the basic thing to say for that. I think also this deck will get better as better Metal and Psychic cards become available just in the future. But in terms of power, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. You're not really that strong. Only hitting for 200 is not that great. A lot of times you're a little short on damage, though you can use your Munkidoris and stuff like that to kind of help offset that damage a little bit, as well as play Black Belt's training. It's not perfect, and there's definitely some issues sometimes with hitting the damage numbers that you want. So more often than not, you're looking to two-shot things outside of times that you're like hitting for weakness with Clefairy or something. So that's why I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5, by the way. Going into consistency, I like this deck a lot. I think that the trolley into TM Evo play is very good. If you don't get that off, it can struggle a little bit. That's why I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, or even like a 3.5 out of 5. In some cases, I think that your prizing can mess you up a little bit, which, you know, can be unlucky. But also, like, if you're made to go first, you can get a little bit behind if you don't get your right pieces off. You are susceptible to being Bedewed. You are susceptible to, like, if you don't get your Arven or your trolley play off and stuff like that, like, you don't get that ramping, you're at issue of, like, falling pretty far behind, which can be rough. But outside of that, I think it's pretty good, so I would give it a 3.5 out of 5, or like a 4 overall for consistency. In terms of matchups, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I thought the matchups were going to be much worse than they are, but I've kind of found that they're not that bad. Your Gardevoir matchup isn't terrible. It's not like the best thing for you, but it's also not that bad, honestly. Munkidoris help a lot in that aspect, and your really high HP total makes it very difficult for them to climb over. Your Dracopult matchup is actually very good. In my opinion, through testing, I feel like it's really, really good, but that's mostly because of the fact of how easily you can use your Clefairy and how easily you can use your Munkidoris and how bulky you are. Your Charizard matchup is alright. This deck suffers to wall matchups an okay amount because, like, you have answers, but you do have to, like, swap them around and be a little bit annoying. In that regard, that can be slightly frustrating, but it's not too bad. It's not like a losing matchup, it's just tedious. I think that's, like, your Terrabox matchup isn't that bad either because Metagross can live the Pikachu attack, so that's nice. And then also, again, you have the Munkidoris to kind of break it, and then that is something you can one-shot, but that one's a little bit tedious to play. Ironically enough, Cerulege becoming more popular is going to hurt this deck a lot because, like, it does hit you for weakness, and it's never going to place damage on the board for you to manipulate. The Ethan's Typhlosion deck is going to be an issue for this, again, hitting you for weakness, never really putting damage just on the board for you to do anything about, so that's going to be an issue. There's some other decks that I think will kind of be a problem. Your matchup into Goldango can be a little bit rough for those same reasons, though it is a little harder for them to hit the HP totals they need to, along with things like Raging Bolt can get a little bit offset by the damage numbers they need to, but if they get going, you're definitely going to struggle, and Raging Bolt is kind of on the rise right now. So I would look out for those matchups specifically. But yeah, that's going to be my rating. I'm going to give it a 3.5, maybe a 4, but I feel more comfortable at 3.5 as an overall rating. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for for watching. And be sure to let me know what you would rate the deck and what decks you are most excited for with Destined Rivals, as well as what you want to see in the next video. I know I have a couple requests. I'm going to try to get to those as quickly as possible to get those done before Destined Rivals comes out, and we're just flooded by a ton of new content. But yeah, I will definitely see you guys in the next one. Peace.